Most of the boats around here have metal buoys. You all know what happens with metal in seawater. They don't last very long. This buoy is now 2 years old, and it's actually metal with a casing of fiberglass, and it's not lasting. This part rusts very quickly, and you can imagine this one's out of the water. What's the one at the bottom of the buoy like? This is what happens when the connection at the bottom of the buoy rusts through. Just gets very thin, bit of wind comes along and it corrodes through, and the mooring chain drops to the bottom of the seabed, and of course you're just left tied to a floating buoy. This is a buoy very close to me. See how well it's rusted through? It's got expanding foam inside, that's keeping it afloat. The connection at the top is very weak. Connection at the bottom, I would say, is ready to drop. So the chain will drop to the bottom, and then this will just be floating free. I've changed my buoys to plastic drums with a chain that's going all the way through. And this video, I'm going to show you how I built this. Welcome back. It's time for an update on the buoys that I'm making for the bow and stern of the yacht. This is what a more finished item is going to look like. It's not finished yet, I haven't finished assembling it. This is the top. Yes, it's a blue plastic drum. Blue plastic drum. First step, cut it. This will actually slide inside there. Bit of effort, it'll push us down inside. I made myself up a composite tube, end cap, laminated them together, another one for the other end. How this works, that's actually the top. It's a nice top finished. Put this into here. This will get 3M cleaned up and 3M'd in place, and then I'll add extra laminate up here to beef up this joint, so any wear around here is taken by extra layers of glass. Turn this over. Okay. See? This area I intend to fill with foam, polyethylene foam, or you know those floating mats that people have out behind their yachts. Cut a section of that and squash it in. That will work very nice. And then we put this on. Well, it takes a bit of effort, I can't do it single-handed. And then that goes on there. I'll show you on this one. Once that's on, this connection here will be 3M glued. Try and keep the water from going out. Trying to make it airtight as well, but the foam inside will stop it from being. This top plate will be 3M'd all around here, and then I'll add extra laminate on here to keep the whole lot squashed together so it can't come apart. This is the bottom, so it has to be upside down, and then the chain will run through here, have a shackle onto the main chain that goes to the ocean bed. At the other end there will be a shackle, and ropes will then run to the boat. I like the idea of the plastic barrels because The metal ones we have at the moment, if your yacht touches them, you get a nasty scratch down the side. Hopefully with these, it'll be that end there that's out of the water. This will be in the water, will not suffer the damage I have alongside the yacht. With the floating mat inside, it'll never sink. So if I don't manage to get this watertight, it's not so important. I've glued the plates on, letting them dry. Plates on. And then the next step is actually put the foam in, put the tops on. Here's my finished buoy. This one I'm going to put at the bow. This is the downside. I'll shackle this onto the existing mooring chain. That means I can always replace this, or I can change mooring chains. Seal the drum. The top end, I'm holding it in the up position with this, believe it or not, is sail batten. Very strong piece of composite. That sits there. We'll get this shackle on and the mooring lines. Alright, today, or this morning's job is to put this one on and see how it floats. Okay. I've made us further away from the buoy at the back. It allows us to come up to the buoy at the front. I've collected my tools that I think I'm going to need. Hooked up. This rope runs down to the chain under the buoy. I'm going to haul that chain up, bring the dinghy around, put on my new buoy, which is in the dinghy, and then cut this one free. First issue I've come to is I think I've popped the winch's foo-foo valve. And the rope doesn't stay on the drum properly because of the angle. And that is quite heavy. My big concern is that I'm lifting more than 160 kilos because the drum I've got, well, I think the drum's 210 litre, but I don't think I worry that the displacement of the drum I'm putting on is not enough to hold that weight. We'll see, just keep going and try. I won't disconnect this one until the other one's on it. My worry is that the new blue drum doesn't have enough volume to support this weight of chain. We'll find out. I come down to my supply. These are the main fuses. This is the anchor fuse, and yes, I've blown the anchor fuse 100 amp. Well, if it's blowing 100 amp fuse, I need to think of some other way of being able to lift that. I'm quite lucky when I set this up as safety before the last typhoon, I put 2 mooring lines to the chain. So I'm going to use the second mooring line I have, and I'm going to run it aft to the main winches. I got 2 mooring lines coming through, one going on to the anchor winch. This one I'm going to try and run through here to the main winch. And that should give me a lot more pulling power. You know, first thing, I've got to change that fuse. I have a 80 amp, I believe, fuse that's typically used for windlasses. Well, I found it. After half an hour searching, I found it. It's amazing. But note, it's got pretty small bolts behind it, so I'm going to have to maybe make something else to bolt this on. Alright, my 100 amp resettable breaker is installed for the windlass, and this is the spare that's been there all the time, 80 amp. I've set up the second line to help. So from the mooring chain, tied in some nice heavy duty, run it through my Genoa block, and then up to the winch, so this doesn't put much pressure on the boat. That's what I want. Don't want to wear the paint off. And with this winch, I should be able to assist the anchor winch with quite a bit of effort. Now we just got to load it up and try. It's amazing. I cranked on the main Genoa winch, fair bit of weight here, nothing now, all the loads on the taken back, which is perfect. The main winch is a lot stronger than the anchor winch. Choice. Well, after a bit of well, you always have issues when you fix a boat. As things seem to be going right, now I just load up that main winch a lot more, see if I can lift the chain using the main winch and just the anchor winch to assist a little bit. It's coming out of the water. Just need to, I'll bring it up another 300, 400 mil, and then I can work on all the chain and everything properly. I've cleaned off barnacles so that you can see what's going on. This is my safety chain that runs to the top, what used to be the top of the buoy, so that when the chain broke, the main feed to the bottom of the buoy broke, which is this. That used to be connected to the bottom of the buoy, and where that's the ones that always tend to go, otherwise the rest of the chain stays in quite good condition. So I'm going to bolt the buoy onto here. My safety lines are up there. I want to cut through that one, it's convenient, and then everything will drop off. But I've got to change one of these lines to a little bit lower so I can take the weight. Otherwise, if I cut through that, bing, it all just instantly disappears under the water. Oops, my worst nightmare has arrived. Not enough volume in it. Damn. I pulled the buoy back up. It's time to cut that extra chain off. Got my cordless cutter. I'll cut through there. Alright, get rid of some weight. Look at that. Just cut the links off. There's nothing wrong with steel. It's the same size as that. It's really only the connection on the bottom of the barrels that goes. Now I got the buoy floating. We tied to the bottom with the two chains. Now I've got to disconnect all the crap on here, put it on the top of the new buoy. Doing that by putting the black lines that lead to the top of the old buoy around the winch. I've got it hooked up with the old one on top of the new one. The old one's still got a safety chain from one to the other, so if the blue one sinks, the old one will stop it. I'll be able to retrieve it. I've got to come up with a plan to try to replace the blue one. Well, this is how it floats. Not so good. In fact, it's just above the surface. I looked at these buoys here. I did a measurement, but I couldn't find anything, any barrels around the same size as this one. This is a small one, far smaller than this, which it really is way too big. I made of metal. I didn't do the calculations, and I should have done the calculations to see what volume the little one was compared to this. I just worked on, this is what I have and this is what I have found. So now I've got to come up with a smart way of changing it or increasing the buoyancy. There's the buoy. The light blue is the original. The dark blue is another 600 millimeters added onto it. So that's should be enough. It's actually, I made two buoys, so that's supposed to be the rear buoy. The front buoy's down under there. So as the tide goes in and out, the weight of the chain increases and sinks it. So I've got to set it up now, winch it back up, swap the buoys around. Now I've lifted it up. Look at the size difference. Yeah, that should do the job. The rope runs up through the anchor's here. Runs through here, through my Genoa car to the main winch. The only thing that's got enough grunt. It was a little dark last night, so here's what it looks like in daylight. How's that? Floating nicely. It takes good. And now, if my boat hits that, it's not gonna put big scratches in the side. It's choice. Woohoo, sweet. That's fantastic. I love it.